Excited. Someone tell me an exam in a couple hours. And you have a lab exam next week, so your pain will be here a lot. We're doing urinary anatomy, so just naming and claiming kidney structures. Okay. So let's start with this picture. What's number 1?
Kidney.
Good. That's good for an answer. All right. So what is number 2?
It's a
Ureter or ureter. You can say it either way. It's fine. Okay. Then we're gonna keep going down. What's number 3?
Urinary bladder.
That's your bladder or urinary bladder. You can say it either way. And then there's going to be a tube. I'm going to click on this one. The tube coming out of your bladder. Number 4, what is that? Urethra, right? Alright, so we've got the basic flow of the part. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back up to the kidney now and start breaking into it. Then we'll go our way down. Oh, thank you. Darkness fall. Let's go find a kidney. Alright, so let's go through a kidney. Okay, so let's name some parts here. So we have this indent where all the plumbing is. What was that in the lung called? Hilum. So same thing. That's your renal hilus or hilum on there. I think on the first page. Right? And on the second page.
16?
Yeah, it's on also 15. What's that blue and red thing going into hilum? Blood vessels. Let's be a little more specific. This red one is renal artery. The blue one is renal vein. So we're saying renal means kidneys. You're saying kidney artery, kidney vein. Then you'll notice that there's all these structures inside. So I'm going to pick a different model. We're going to start looking at the structures inside the kidney. Kidney. Let's go. Alright, so we're going to start with number 23. This brown thing on the very outside of my kidney. It's a layer. Capsule, renal capsule, capsule, kidney capsule, fibrous capsule, perirenal capsule, capsule. Alright. Then you have region B and region A. From a lymph node, you know these. What's region B? What's the C? Cortex. Very good. And region A is sort of the middle, medulla. So I have a capsule, cortex, and medulla in my kidney like you had with a lymph node, like you had with everything else you've learned in this term. Right? So capsule, cortex, and medulla. Those are the layers of the kidney. Then when we go inside there, we have the space in the very middle, number 4. What's that middle open space of your kidney called? Sinus. Renal sinus, kidney sinus. Sinus is the space there. So the layer is the medulla, and the thing is the sinus. Are so good? No. They're the same kind of thought. The sinus is the whole, the pelvis formally is the place. I have no preference. I learned in the synonyms. So you can say sinus or pelvis. Now comes the harder stuff. Number 7 are these triangular things. Pyramids. So you're going to think of Egypt when you think of a kidney. So you have pyramids, which are these triangular structures, renal pyramids. You'll notice on number, which one should I pick? Let's pick 22-ish. There's a spot between the pyramids. So if you go to Egypt, what's between the pyramids? Are columns. The renal columns are the areas between the pyramids, and the pyramids are the triangles. So you have pyramid, column, pyramid, column, pyramid, column, pyramid, column. Page 16. Okay, the renal columns and renal pyramids. So triangles and not triangles. All right. So what was number 4 again? Renal pelvis or renal sinus. You're going to draw your eye to 5A and 5B. So if the pelvis branches this way, and there's big branches and there's littler branches. How would you say the big branch? Major calyx or calyces. And the littler branches, like here and here, are minor calyces, or calyx is one of them. So your pelvis is the whole middle, and then you have major and minor calyces as you go up toward the pyramids. So it's from a flower name. Yes? The size. So major is the first split, like a bronchus. These are majors, and these are minors, because it splits a second time. Okay. So major, minor calyces. This major. big tube, and then the reminders are over here. Okay. Look at number 6. Number 6 is pointing to the tip of your pyramid. How would you say tip of the pyramid? Papilla, in this case, renal papilla. The papilla is the tip of the pyramid. So that's a papilla. This is a pyramid. That's all in the medulla. So you have papillas, you have helices, you have columns, you have pyramids. All within that thing. And we're going to zoom in even more. Why? Because we do. So, this model is one pyramid, one triangle in your kidney. Let's review. Number 23. What layer was that?
Capsule.
Capsule. Layer B was what? Cortex. Layer A is medulla. So those are layers. Then we have the pyramid, which is the whole thing. And then 24 was the papilla, the tip of the pyramid. Now we get this joy. So what you're supposed to be able to do is look at this white fish bone down the middle, number 6, and name it. So that thing was collecting the urine. So how would you say a tube that collects urine? Collecting duct. So if you go over, where's that at?
Bottom 16.
Bottom 16, there's a collecting duct. That's the middle of the pyramid. Looks like a fish bone. So far, so good? All right, then what you have to do is follow along with your mind here. You're going to find these circles that are in the pyramid, these things here. All right, that's where the urine starts, which we'll learn today. And then you're going to follow the white tube out of the circle and end up getting collected out. So, follow my finger. I'm going to start with this one here. I have a squiggly line here. I go down. I go up. Squiggly line, and then out. Everyone follow that? Okay, so we're going to start here. That round thing, look on your list, that's called a glomerulus. Just like it sounds. Glomerulus. Glomeruli is plural. So that's the glomerulus. That's where you're going to start your finger on your lab exam next week. And then you're going to name what you're doing. So this squiggly tube is close to the glomerulus. So how would you say squiggly tube close to glomerulus? Proximal convoluted tubule at the bottom of 16. So it's near squiggly tube. Proximal convoluted tubule. Then the tube goes down my pyramid. How would you say tube going down? Descending limb of the loop of Henle. So descending limb. Then I'm going to turn and go up. Say was what? Ascending limb of the loop of Henle because it makes a loop. That's a word that'll pop up. You can say just descending and ascending limb. Then you notice I now have squiggly tubes way away from the glomerulus. Distal convoluted tubule. So far away is squiggly place. And then I'm in my collecting duct. So if you take your finger on the exam next week and actually literally talk to yourself, proximal convoluted tubule, that descending limb, ascending limb, distal convoluted tubule, and collecting duct. You should not miss it. The one thing you're going to do wrong is memorize the one on the left, because you notice that these two are reversed from each other, mirror images. So this one down's on the left, this one's down on the right. So take your finger and go on the flow. Yes?
Can you see the glomerular capsule?
Yes, we'll get there. Zoom in on that one.
And it's on the model.
Yes. So do okay on my tubing. So you're going to take your finger and start the circle and then name what you're doing as you go out the collecting duct.
So on this, like the glomerulus is that small red circle. Are
Yes.
those white circles also glomeruli?
Yes, but they have a different name when they're circles.
Not the
So.
ones that go.
Right. So those ones would have the same plumbing, but you can't see it. So I just did the ones you can see. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom in on the glomerulus. So we're zooming in on the place where you start your finger. Okay. Boom. This is one glomerulus in your kidney. So this is where you'd start your trip. So we have some names. Okay. So the red part that's all squiggly, that's the glomerulus. There's an outside white part, number 10. What do you call the outside white part of the glomerulus area? Glomerular capsule, also called Bowman's capsule. So the glomerulus is the red thing. The capsule is number 10, the white thing around it. So the glomerulus is the red formally, not the white part. So you have Bowman's capsule or glomerular capsule, and number 8 is the glomerulus. So far so good? Okay. tube 6 going into my glomerulus, and tube 7 is coming out. So can anyone guess how we say tube 6? What kind of arterial is going in? Afferent with an A. So that's my afferent or afferent arterial. Number 7 is coming out. It would be efferent with an E. E and exit. So you have ins and outs. Right? So I have my afferent arterial, my glomerulus, my efferent arterial, and my Bowman's capsule or glomerular capsule. Number 9 are cells that are on my glomerulus. And they have little feet. How would you say cells with little feet that's stuck on my glomerulus?
I don't know.
Podocytes. These are the podocytes that are on glomerulus. Page 16.
Right to, and where is that again on the
Page 16. So the glomerulus is the red. Podocytes are the cells in the red. The capsule is the white thing, number 10. Make sense? Okay, so now you go back to 231. What do you call layers of membranes on the organ? Are they visceral or parietal? Visceral. So number 9 are the podocytes of the visceral layer because they're on the glomerulus. The cells on number 10, what layer would they be if they're on the cavity wall? Parietal. So number 9 is the visceral layer. Number 10 is the parietal layer of the glomerulus. So you can name them by the layer, or you can say they're the podocytes in the capsule. If I ask you layer, you're going to say visceral parietal. If I ask you the name, you say podocytes or Bowman's capsule.
So number 9 is that whole thing is one cell?
No, these are individual cells. So you can see the little feet. There's a cell, here's a cell. Those are multiple cells.
Oh, it looks like a 2. So all
Yes.
9 are
Podocytes. Sure, visceral layer means on the glomerulus, on the blood vessels. The number 9 are on the blood vessels, so they're viscerally. Number 10 are not. So far, so good. Okay, go look at number 13 up there. You'll notice that those are cells that are near the glomerulus. The glomerulus is here. They are near. How would you say next to or near the glomerulus? These ones here. You learned it last term in blood pressure regulation. Last year, last term. Juxtaglomerular apparatus.
We did not.
You learned that with blood pressure regulation. GXTA and the nephron. Term blood pressure for the EP. No? Yes, we did. I know I mentioned juxtaglomerular cells. Okay.
So where? Okay, you did.
Moving on. I'm pretty sure I did. Play the video. Right. But these were for the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system. So these are next to your glomerulus. Those are the juxtaglomerular cells. Juxta meaning next to. They are. So your juxtaglomerular apparatus means the cells up here. Those cells. They're next to my glomerulus.
That's next to the afferent too?
Yes. Oh wait, there's more. There are two. Notice there's a 12A and a 12B. So the juxtaglomerular apparatus has two parts. There's a lower part, which is on the blood vessel here, and an upper part, which is on that tube number 11. Let's name them separately, shall we? 12B are the juxtaglomerular cells. So if you look on page 17, juxtaglomerular cells are on the afferent arteriole, right here. What do you think you call the cells that are in the other tube? The macula densa. Okay. Both of them make the apparatus.
What is the other tube?
The other tube is your distal convoluted tubule. Boom. The classic exam question is name something in the juxtaglomerular apparatus and where it's located. So you'd say, well, there's juxtaglomerular cells in the afferent arteriole. There's a macula densa in the distal convoluted tubule. The whole thing is the apparatus. Far so good? Right. That's basically the plumbing to get to the glomerulus. After lecture today, after exam, we'll talk about what that does. So to get your bearings, we'll back up a bit. So piece here, that is right there where my mouse is pointing. Close up of that circle. So that'd be afferent coming in and the efferent going out. Here's my glomerulus, and that's what this is showing.
Are all the little yellow things around it same thing?
Yes, the yellow things would just be the same thing.
That whole little structure,
Yes, so any circle area is a corpuscle. The glomerulus is inside of it. But the corpuscles are the circles. Sure, the corpuscles are each of the circles. But the glomerulus is the red thing inside of it. If I just point to a circle, you can say corpuscle. If I point to the red thing, you're going to say glomerulus. It's just a general catch-all term. We'll get there. You okay so far? Okay, now we're going to do the blood vessels that now shall do. If you go back to the very first page of the objectives, you're supposed to be able to trace a pathway of blood through the kidney. So this listing that they have for you, just going to memorize in order. With your finger, follow along. So let's start with number 2. What was number 2, red thing? Renal artery. Every time it splits, you give it a name. So this thing right here is split off of number 2. What's the next artery on your list?
Segmental artery.
That's called your segmental artery. Then it turns and goes up between the pyramids. How would you say that?
Interlobar.
Interlobar. The pyramids are lobed. Therefore, this is between the lobes. This is going to make a curve or an arc. How would you say arcing?
Arcuate artery.
Arcuate arteries. That's the ones that curve up here. If I follow along again, I have my renal, I have my segmental, I have my interlobar, and my arcuate. Shown on this picture. I take the red and go into here. Then if you notice, the arcuate, there's red vessels that go outwards. They radiate to the cortex. I wonder how we say that.
Cortical radiate.
Cortical radiate. Used to be called interlobular. Right? And those are the red ones that go way out to the edge. Right? So I'm going to zoom in.
Can you stop zooming in? Sorry.
So here's one pyramid, right? So blood vessel 25. Which one comes up between the pyramids? Interlobar, very good. Blood vessel number 7 would be what? If you're gonna arcuate. Blood vessel number 8 would be what? Cortical radiate, because it's going up toward out of my cortex. And then that would then branch to the afferent, efferent. So then the veins, you just reverse your order. So there should be a blue vein number, whatever number that is, coming down. Which blue vein would that be? Cortical radiate vein. There's a blue thing right here. Which one's that? Arcuate to be blue one here. Interlobar. So you're going to reverse the name as you come down the veins. There is one trick though, a classic question. One of the veins isn't named. You notice there's no segmental vein in the kidney. So you have to remember that there's a segmental artery. There is no segmental vein. You go directly from interlobar to renal. You have to remember to delete one name as you go down the route. Sure. So I'm going to do the whole route. Ready? Renal artery, segmental artery, interlobar, arcuate, cortical radiate. Now turn blue. Cortical radiate, arcuate, interlobar, renal. Goes in and out on that. Thou shall memorize. Thou shalt. Make sense?
There's no arcuate?
There's an arcuate vein, yes. So they share all the names except for segmental. Alright. Then let's add a few more words. Because there's always more words. Look at number 11. Number 11 are capillaries around my tubes. How would you say capillaries around my tubes? Go on page 17 and look for peritubular capillaries. What does peri mean? Around, right? So 11 are capillaries around the tubing. So peritubular capillaries. Look at number, what number is this one? Is that a number? What does it? This one here. This red and blue one here, which should be numbered, those are capillaries around these lower loops. Those are called the vasa recta. Look on a vasa recta. That's what this is below the arcuates. Yes?
Our models, more distinct.
Nope, that is exactly off the model you have.
So there's capillaries in the medulla and the cortex?
Yes, so the paratubulars are in the cortex, the vasa recta is in the medulla. The only difference is they're below the arcuate or above. So the vasa recta are around these loops, which they didn't show them directly over each other. The paratubulars are on the tubes. So the only other thing you have to keep track of is that boys and girls are different. So you did know that, right? But that changes the anatomy when you get down below the bladder. So let's go find my bladder again. A bladder. Here's the bladder from a male. So there's some magic words in the bladder. So if you look at number 15, in everyone's bladder, there's a triangle between the urethra, P tube, and the two ureters, drain tubes. How would you say triangular thing in a bladder? Trigone or trigony. So if you look on, it's down here somewhere. Where's it at? 16 at the top. That's your trigone or trigony. That's the triangle in the bladder. Both males and females. But once you leave the bladder, life changes. So this is a male because he has a prostate gland. So the urethra here is called the prostatic urethra because near your prostate gland. Do women have prostates? Please say no. Okay, so therefore you don't have a prostatic urethra. So what I have to do is find some boy and girl parts. Let's do girl parts. Okay, so number 15 is your bladder. Tube 16, the whole tube in a female is urethra. It has no other name because it's only one tube. Okay? The boys, we're special. We have parts on our urethra. Yes. So let's find my boy parts. So look at 14, that's the bladder. 13 is the prostate. So the urethra from here to here is prostatic urethra. Then there's a urethra by my Cowper's gland right there. Which one's that? Membranous urethra. And then there's a urethra that lives in your penis. What do we call that one? Spongy or penile urethra. So male urethras are broken into 3 parts because there's 3 different sections. You go through it. Prostatic, membranous, and penile.
So the membranous runs through what?
Your Cowper's gland, which is right there. No, in 2 weeks you do, but not today. Just know that's the membranous urethra. Between this prostatic and penis.
So are those female ones not listed?
No, you only have a urethra. There's no other division. That's it. Then you'll notice this red line right here. Okay? Also notice that females have a red line. The red line. Red lines are magical. Okay, so what do you think you call that red line? Or what is that red line dealing with? Okay, that's one of the sphincters, right? So your internal urinary sphincter is at the bladder, basically. This is where your external urinary sphincter is. So in a female, your external sphincter is basically just under the bladder near your pubic bone.
Wait, is it internal urinary or internal?
Either way, same either way.
Can you clarify that so the internal sphincter is actually right by the bladder?
So what's the bladder? So your internal sphincter will always be the neck of the bladder. The external one, the one that you learn to control, moves. So if you're female, it's down roughly at your pubic bone. That's called the pelvic floor muscle. Okay. So if you're a male, it's just in a different place. Basically buried in the membranous urethra. So it's kind of the same location, but it's just here. So that's your external urinary sphincter.
It's number 18.
That's number 18. 18 is a pubic bone.
What do you say it's buried in?
Yeah, membranous urethra. Goes through it. Okay, so on the males and females, the males have more parts to their urethra than females do. Otherwise, it's the same tube and the same job. Make sense? So I'm going to show you the slide you have to know. There's always slides. Let me hear you say, ah! I love this slide. It's not bad. There's only one.
So are you going to show us a paper sheet? Because we don't know.
I do not personally know. We do have kidney sheets. What organ is this? Don't say stomach. The kidney. How would I know that on next week's exam? We have all those slides back out. What would tell me this is not a stomach or an esophagus or anything? There's no epithelium. There is, but it's funny looking. You're going to look for this picture here. Notice that there's a big circle with a funny looking rose bush growing in it. That's the glomerulus. That's that little model you've been looking at. So if you notice, I have a whole bunch of glomeruli all showing themselves on this model. You get that kind of, call it rose effect. See that? Only a kidney would have that look. So let's try that again.
Where is this on?
So I show you this slide, say what organ is this? You're going to say kidney. Make sense? Then you're supposed to be able to identify the parts of a kidney on the slide. All right, Smarties, let's try this one.
Is there a histology section?
There is.
In the lab?
No.
There is. You go to basically it's in number 16, nephron structure. It doesn't say histology, but you are required to know this slide. Right. So this picture is showing that rose bush. That's the glomerulus. Okay. So if you click on it, it's going to do.
We get that close.
Not this close.
So if you have this, it'll be on paper.
That might be a slide. You can't get this close on a microscope. But this, what is this? That's glomerulus. So what is this thing around it? That would be white number 10 on the model. That's the capsule. Right? So this is the capsule. This is the glomerulus. Then there's a space between them. How would you say white space between them? Lumen. So that is the lumen of the glomerulus. So it has a lumen like your intestines do. So glomerular lumen. Is that capsular? Capsular lumen is our word for it. Yes, 316. I do know what I'm talking about.
You can just say lumen.
You can say lumen, as long as I can. So if you see this slide, you would say, well, that's a kidney, there's a glomerulus, there's a capsule, and that's the lumen between them. That's all you can identify on the slide is those three things. Kidney, glomerulus, capsule, lumen. 4 things.
Was the nephron functional in 2?
Not on the slide.
Is the nephron the functional?
Yes, nephron is all the 2 being put together. So on the kidney, you hopefully only have 1 slide. This is it.
You said what? We need to know the glomerulus, the capsule.
The lumen.
3. 4.
Yeah, 4. I can't count. Right. So 1, 2, 3, and kidney. So 4 things. So there's no one that's the only slide of the urinary system is this one. So if you can see that and say, hey, I see a kidney, I see glomerulus, capsule, lumen, that's the only slide that'll get you this week. Okay. So just to prove that, let's do this one. So what organ is this again? Kidney. What is this thing here? Hey, notice the blood in it. Hey, cool. It's even showing the blood. So this is the glomerulus. What is this white space? Lumen. What is this edge here? Capsule. There's a slide. Right? In addition to all the other 25 slides you have to know. Okay. Okay. So that's you have the slide. You have the 3-part model to do, and that's your lab for today. So the rest of your time is that lab, and we're going to do an exam next week in lab on everything. Use your time as wisely as you can. That's yes. Was enzymes?
So we need to
Yes. Everything put in. Yes. That's where they are. One's in the cortex, one's in the medulla. Okay, so cortical nephrons be more to the surface. Medullary be